what's going on? Muriel from the Sunshine Family. Today discussing buying property in Costa Rica, pros and cons, buying property versus renting. Well, this is a video that I am sharing thanks to the many questions I received so far. I bought my own property in Costa Rica back in 2019 successfully. I've also rented. Now there's many pros and cons to mention about living in Costa Rica in general, but especially about this topic, there is a lot to share about it, which I believe you can benefit from if you're looking into buying property in Costa Rica. Perhaps you already are living in Costa Rica, or perhaps you're thinking about moving to Costa Rica. In any ways, my channel is created to share everything I have learned so far after moving here back in 2018. My journey has been amazing so far. I moved here with my husband Dirk and two growing up kids, and I'm excited to share a new episode about what I have learned and about what I believe I can share with you that can help you in your process of making the right decision. So before I'm gonna dive in, my question is, consider to subscribe to my channel by hitting that little icon you see at the bottom of every of my video with Dirk and my face, and then hit the bell to get a notification every time I upload a new video that can help you to learn more about a specific Costa Rica living and moving to Costa Rica or expat topic. That's what I'm all about on this channel, and thank you so much for supporting my channel that way. So, buying property in Costa Rica versus renting in Costa Rica. Let's just get started with that. So I moved to Costa Rica and I rented a house for the first 2 months. Then we moved, then we rented a house for 8 months. Then we moved to a house close to the property we bought, and we lived there for half a year, and then we moved to our property. Can you follow? So I moved to Costa Rica, and I decided while living in Costa Rica, I found out there is options to buy property in Costa Rica. Then while living here, I decided to focus on which type of property, and then I made my decision based on having all the time in the world to do due diligence, to find a property that I could see in all types of climate seasons, so rainy season, dry season, and I was not in a hurry. I just kicked off a couple of really important keys to make a good decision, whether to buy or to rent. So depending on what you want living in Costa Rica, perhaps you're not even planning to live in Costa Rica, but buy property in Costa Rica. That is a way of buying, right? In any ways, I recommend in certain circumstances renting over buying. I will highlight exactly why. Then I will highlight why I recommend buying over renting. It depends on your situation, on your vision, on you, on what you're about, what type of work, the world situation. Let me just kick off by saying why I'm happy to be a renter right after moving to Costa Rica, right? So I come from the Netherlands. I didn't speak Spanish. I didn't know actually anything about living in Costa Rica. I knew that I could open up my laptop in Costa Rica after closing it in the Netherlands, and that my business runs 24/7 anyways, even if I'm offline and online. And while I'm eating alive by the mosquitoes, I forgot to put on mosquito spray. I'm standing on my own property here, by the way, close to the river, but I'm just gonna continue. So why it is super awesome to start renting instead of being in buying a property process while you're moving to Costa Rica is that you give yourself the time to settle in your life in Costa Rica. It is a big transition, probably if you come from the US, from Canada, from Europe, from I don't know where. Moving to Latin America and then a country such as Costa Rica is always a big transition in general for most expats, right? So take it from me, buying our property, since I did it, is a lot of work in the mind. It takes a good concentration. You need to have attention for it and time for it in order to make a good decision, right? I should not have been able to be patient enough and make a right decision in the first couple, I think in the first 6 months of living here. I was so happy that I just could pay my rent and just focus on helping my kids to settle in with their new life. You know, keep on running my business, finding friends, finding just all those practical things that daily life ask from you, like where to get your groceries, where to meet people, where can I go to a gym, how does everything work? All the most basic simple things I needed to learn. I was not experienced. I happened to be in Costa Rica one vacation, then I decided to move there because we found out that there's awesome internet on many locations. We checked it out and we decided to move here, and a year later we moved here. So yeah, I found it really tranquilo knowing I just have one responsibility: to pay for my rent, to be on time with that, and if anything is wrong with the house, I can call the landlord and say, well, the roof is leaking, or we have no electricity, or there's no water or whatsoever, and someone else is taking care of it. In many cases, good landlords take care of that, right? So buying property is a liability, right? It is a big responsibility. Assuming that you have a ready-to-go property where everything is in place, that's a myth, by the way. There's always something. If you think you buy a ready-to-go property with a house and everything, wake up. There will be always something on your plate that you have to solve. That's just part of life with your own property. And I can tell out of experience because I own a property, right? But I'm just saying in the beginning, I would recommend you to stay away from that liability, big responsibility to take care of a lot of things while you're still in the transition of settling in your new life. And I also want to highlight that there is so many different locations for buying property in Costa Rica, right? I was recently speaking with people who are into buying a property in Manuel Antonio. Now, Manuel Antonio is a specific area in Costa Rica, right? But they haven't seen other parts of Costa Rica. So I preferred to have seen other places, other locations in Costa Rica, to feel how it feels on different places. So there could be an amazing property for sale in, for example, Manuel Antonio. But what if in a later stage of your life in Costa Rica, you visit a place at the peninsula de Nicoya where I live and you think, what the heck, it feels so amazing here. It might not have the ocean view that I had on that property in Manuel Antonio, but gosh, I wish I visited this place before I decided to buy the property in Manuel Antonio. I'm not saying you should have seen every square meter in Costa Rica before deciding to buy in a specific area. I'm just recommending you that I think it can help to have visited different areas in Costa Rica, for example, and then really different locations where there is in all locations things that you need as a family. So if you have kids and you want your kids to go to school, you make sure that there are schools in those areas. If you love the ocean over the mountains, don't even pay attention to areas as Monteverde because probably you won't be happy there. So find out what is important to you and start visiting areas and start feel how it feels while you're looking at properties. Just if you see an amazing property, also see yourself in your car getting to that property. So is there a road up to your house, or does the seller say, well, the last piece of the road is not done yet, but it's easy to fix it? You know, don't take everything as a fact or as a truth here. First due diligence, then you are assured that you're even allowed to build a road there, right? So don't be blind for beautiful sunsets or a beautiful property. It doesn't say a thing without due diligence and knowing exactly if it's worth the price, right? Because remember, a property without a water meter or a registered well, you are not allowed to build, And no one can guarantee you, before you did due diligence about it, that there's municipality of that area will still give new water meters to new people, or give the freedom for people to dig their well and register it. There are areas they don't allow any more water meters or digging wells because they reach the maximum amount in that area to protect the water level, right? Take that from me, that's the biggest mistake people make, being blind of a beautiful property in a beautiful area where they did a vacation and then start doing the whole process of due diligence without even being there, and then find out later, hopefully not, they find out before, that there might be other locations more affordable, what feels better, although perhaps it doesn't have that beautiful view. I'm just saying, compare options before you start an official process or even thinking about buying. I think the biggest mistake people make is believe the beautiful promises of realtors saying, yeah, you know, that house has this and this. It's all, oh, by the way, yeah, the will is not registered yet, so, but we still have to make that official. It's going to be fine. You know, do due diligence. And the best way to find out how a property is legally is when you have the time and the peace to look that up, to visit the property, see how it behaves in rainy season, see how it behaves in dry season, and all those things. Look around you. What type of neighbors do you have, right? Is the property next to you a property where they can build for 10% or for 80%? That's just the title of the property. It's important. If you buy a beautiful property with nothing and no one around it, but the piece next to you is for sale, you might happen to get neighbors who are building a bungalow park there and make a lot of noise next to your door. You want to know. So buying property is a liability, a big responsibility, and I always recommend people just come and move to Costa Rica. This is just examples. I'm not saying it is wrong or right. I'm just giving options and experiences, and I share stories, what I hear and what I think about it, for you to help you to make a best decision. I am happy that I just rented for the first 10 months, and then a property came on my path, and I had all the time to make a good decision. I was not pushed. I knew there were lots of options, and that helped us to make a very good decision, which happened to be a super success, right? So I know stories of people who bought property because of the view, and later out they found out it was impossible to build a house there because they were blinded by the view and the prettiness of the property, the beautiness of the property, but without being able to build, without a water meter, permission, well, etc., you also cannot expect to be able to sell your property. So you basically made a useless investment, right? And that still happens every day. Take my word, this happens every day. Don't make that mistake. Come here, rent for a while, travel around in Costa Rica, visit other places, talk with people, talk with realtors, but especially find your way into the word of mouth buying from the owner directly. I bought my property from the owner directly. And this is an option too. You are not only have to depend on realtors at all. I rather prefer the not commercial properties, because I only know people, expat friends, who bought that way, and they all have had beautiful experiences. They all bought beautiful properties without a realtor, the word of mouth directly from the owners, because it's the not commercial properties. But you only are probably able to find those by being for a while in a specific area and talk with people and look around and drive around and communicate with others. And just let people know that you're looking for a property. And often people just appear saying, wow, I happen to know someone who has their property for sale. So, and that's how you can discover amazing properties for a very good price. So you know, that's a tip, renting over buying, especially at the start of moving to Costa Rica. Now, on the longer run, if you are, why would I prefer buying over renting, is when you are here and you feel happy in Costa Rica in a specific area, and you know, there's options to buy. You know, if you're paying rent, it's a freedom, right? You can just say whatever. I just decide to leave Costa Rica and go to Bali anyways. Especially when you work online like I do. By the way, if you're curious about what it is that I do online, go ahead to the description below. Click the very first link, continue to learn more, or click on the description, read the description below and read more that I share, because I have my own coaching programs. I created a specific training, and I just wanted to let you know that it's possible to work online for anyone as long as you know exactly what to do. But renting is freedom. You don't have any responsibility to have someone taking care of your property while you're away, or you're not in an emergency situation to do a fire sale because you don't want to stay here but no one wants to buy whatsoever, right? So renting is freedom, but on the long run, when you are somewhere where you really, really like it and there is a beautiful property for sale, I prefer buying over renting, because you invest in yourself. Personally, I was always a renter back in the Netherlands. This is the first time of my life that I'm the landlord. I don't have to pay rent. I'm responsible. I have a very low amount of bills I have to pay, which is my electricity, which is my Wi-Fi. I don't have a water bill because I have my own well, which I dig myself and is registered. And I buy a bottle of gas every 2 to 3 months, right? That is my monthly cost. And then you have yearly taxes that you have to pay depending on how big your house is, how much your house is valued by the municipality, that depends on the square meters of the house, etc., and how it's built, how many bathrooms. It's all those municipality rules. But all based on that, we are so much cheaper out buying over renting, for sure. But I know that this is a property worth to invest in. I bought this property and I know it's going to increase in value because it has water, it is in a good location, it has access to a public road. That public road is the center going to different beaches. I thought about all these things when buying this, right? Over looking at a property with an ocean view on the top of the hill with a private road, which people had to chip in to fix the road, which is always causing a lot of problems with people with access to private roads. That's my experience. So I looked up all these things. I did my due diligence with a trustable attorney. There comes the keyword, trustable attorney. So here is where buying property in Costa Rica comes over renting property, is when you have a long-term vision to stay here, and if you have caretakers for the property in case you want to leave yourself, and they take care of the property, so there's not going to be robberies, or even the state can say, well, the owner is not here, we're going to take it back. Because I think there's some kind of law in Costa Rica when it's abandoned while the owner is still there. I think the Costa Rica can just take back your land. I have to look up this rule, but perhaps you can tell me more about it if you're watching and you know stuff about this. But I'm just saying you cannot just have property and leave it, because people have house sitters and property caretakers. The jungle will grow over your house. It's just a fact. You cannot just have property and just leave it there. But there are ways to buy property in Costa Rica and rent somewhere else. I know people who do that too. But I think on the long run, it's cheaper to buy if you have a long-term vision for your property in any ways, to let it increase in price and just sell it, or have it increase in price and split it up, wait for what the market is doing. If you have more water meters, or like we do, have a well and a water meter, you can build on both sides, you can split it up, you could always sell it again, you can build on it and rent it out. Like there's options, right? Depends on if you want to buy to invest or want to buy to live here, of course. We actually bought this to live here because we work online and earn online anyways. For us, it's a piece of quiet. it's a specific tranquilo bubble during COVID, having a lot of space around us. We are happy that we bought the property and have all those freedom and space over renting and having to deal with a landlord who perhaps says, you know what, I'm just gonna live there myself, sorry, you have to leave the house. That happens too. So there is pros, there is cons over renting and buying. But my biggest warning for people is, it's actually my biggest advice. I would consider to think about buying after finding an area that you like the best, so you can compare specific areas. At least go to a peninsula, area San Jose, visit Monteverde, go to Samara, pick like 5 locations, discover how it feels, what you see in property, and then decide. And rent the first couple of months. I would say rent at least 6 months to a year before you're gonna decide to buy or not. And don't expect that everything goes smoothly or fast. Nothing happens fast here in Costa Rica, and have a good attorney who can do the due diligence for you, so you don't have to worry about a thing buying someone else's property that's not even for sale, because that happens too. And don't think about buying property without the owner can show that there's a legit water well registration or water meter registration, because otherwise you cannot build and not even rebuild. So yeah, with that being said, I hope this helps you in your process of making the decision, buying property in Costa Rica or renting a property in Costa Rica, or just, I don't know, do a combination. This is how we have done it. I shared it in the beginning. We rented for a while, found something. Now it took our time to decide, then we just did it and went for it. And know exactly what you want to do with it. We already knew that we don't have to rely on tourists, on renting out to be able to afford this. We are mortgage free. We just paid it all in once because we wanted to invest specific amount of money, right? So this was our way to live for free every month, only pay my taxes and my bills. So yeah, this is a way of life. This is a lifestyle. So really look at yourself. What is your purpose of buying? Do you buy it to invest? Do you buy it to live there? If yes, if you want to live there, are you sure this is the right property for you? Are you sure not overpaying because it has a nice view, but for the rest it has no opportunities to build as much as you want, or to rent it out? Even renting it out, counting on buying property, build 2 houses and rent out 1 house. There is a lot of new rules made by Costa Rica. Be sure you know about how that works with business in Costa Rica. You cannot in secret rent out a house these days, because there's lots of people checking on you. Municipality will check on you. It has to be legal or not, if you ask me. So be sure that you're prepared. And renting is still a very free way of living in Costa Rica, having the freedom to just say, you know what, I'm done with this place, let's go somewhere else. And yeah, say goodbye to the house and just leave. If you're a digital nomad like myself, that is an awesome way of living in Costa Rica. But like I said, if you have the opportunity to buy, it's also valuable to grab it. I'm so happy I bought this property. I know this will be in my family for a very long time. This is the legacy for our children, assuring them that they never ever have to pay any rent in the rest of their lives, because we are able to build 80% on this property. We can build a couple of houses if we want, which I don't want. But I'm just saying there's so much possible. Don't think buying is the best solution, because it is a liability too. So a lot of pros, a lot of cons. It comes down to look at your situation. Don't feel in a hurry. Just come to Costa Rica, explore Costa Rica, drive around in Costa Rica, feel where you feel most at home, and then start finding a very good trustable attorney and start working with the attorney, doing the due diligence for specific properties that are available. And remember, there's beautiful properties not on the real estate market. They are for sale through the banks in Costa Rica, through word of mouth, and they are out there, and there are many of them. And there are the secret properties of Costa Rica that I believe could be a very good chance for you to buy your dream property. With that being said, I can ramble on about this topic. I made other videos about it. You have seen them popping on above me with those little pop-ups. Especially watch the one with dangers of buying land in Costa Rica. All those dangers, step by step, I shared. I created videos about building a house in Costa Rica, the whole permit process, etc., etc. So let me know if this was of value to you, this video. Like my video, share my video, comment below my video, and of course subscribe to my channel. That helps me tremendously to reach more people and to be more motivated to share more videos. Of course, the more viewers, the more motivated I will be. So with that being said, bye for now and see you in my next video.